We've been talking a lot about dancing lately in this series called Dare to Dance Again. Now, sometimes dare is the right word. Sometimes it takes daring to dance. Now, I admit to not being much of a dancer. I have a habit of losing the beat to the point where at times it looks like I'm dancing to a completely different set of music. I did take dancing lessons early in life, so I know the box step and the foxtrot, both of which come in very handy. Know where I am. In junior high and high school, if I were at a dance, you'd probably find me plastered against a wall or in a corner. I was on TV once, not on Dancing with the Stars, but on a local program that was like American Bandstand. My parents were watching closely to see me in my TV debut, and there I was near the snack table with my finger in my mouth trying to pry stale potato chips that were like rubber from my teeth. They were so proud. I did join D. Malay, and they had periodic dances. One time I dared to ask a girl that was in several of my classes at school if she would go to the dance with me. Now, she was way out of my league. Her brother was 2 years older, a jock and a big man on campus, and she traveled in a social circle that didn't even recognize me. But for some reason, she said yes. We had a pretty good time up until the end of the evening. It was a custom at these dances that the last dance of the night would be a stop and kiss dance. The band would stop periodically, and during that interval, the couples were invited to kiss. I nervously asked Nancy to dance that last dance with me, and she got this look on her face and said, I can't get my shoes on. So no stop and kiss for me. Crushing. Daring can lead to disappointment, but daring can be transformative as well. I said that often I seem like I'm dancing to a different piece of music, and it seems to me that there's a lot of music playing in the background these days. I'm using dancing and music as metaphors for life. Often we don't notice these songs that are playing in the background because we aren't moved to dance to that particular tune, but it's there. Some of these songs are getting louder and louder to the point that they're harder to ignore. And maybe we need to step onto the floor and dance. I'm talking about the songs of gun violence, inequality, racism, sexism, ageism, and so many other isms that we can't allow to become more ingrained in our society. I admit to having danced to some of them when they helped me, not really thinking or caring about how they might hurt others. And I think that if we're honest with ourselves, we all will find places where each of us has danced to one or more of these tunes. But I think we may need to change partners in our dance of life. There's a Bob Dylan song that I'll paraphrase a little bit. It goes, you're going to have to dance with somebody. It may be the devil and it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to dance with somebody. We're all in this dance of life, and we must choose whose tune we're dancing to. Now, the Acts scripture that Terry read just a few minutes ago tells of two people who dared to dance to a different tune. Philip was a Jew, and his church had been treating people that weren't like them rather poorly and even with much hostility sometimes for centuries. The Ethiopian eunuch almost certainly was not a Jew, and the fact that he was a eunuch would have excluded him even if he was a Jew. But he was coming from Jerusalem, where the text says he had gone to worship and was returning home. He was reading from a scroll from Isaiah and was curious and wanting something more that he had been experiencing in his life. He was looking for a different tune to dance to, but he needed guidance. And Philip listened to the voice of the Spirit of Christ, that he dared to dance with this eunuch, the other. Perhaps people are watching you, even if you don't realize it. I don't say that to make you uneasy or paranoid. I say that because what people see in you just might spark curiosity about why you do the things you do and act the way you do. Is your dance of faith more than just feeling good about what happens to you when you die? The eunuch needed guidance. What kind of guidance are you and I giving? Following Jesus is more than just that easy, calming reassurance that is a very important part, but it's more than that. It must have been hard for Philip to dance to this different tune, but that's what Jesus calls us to do. Something outside of how the eunuch had been raised had begun to open him up to new possibilities. But he had questions. He needed guidance. The eunuch must have seen something in the ways of Judaism to inspire him to make the journey to Jerusalem and to open the Hebrew texts and ask questions. And Philip was there to help him understand and to change. And in the process, Philip's understanding of the scope of what Jesus had been doing and saying widened his understanding of his ministry. He became a guide to Christ for this eunuch. Did you ever get notice that the last part of guidance is dance? D-A-N-C-E. I mean, I took dancing lessons as a teen, but I needed guidance. I needed more than to know just the steps. I needed an understanding of how to move in union with my partner and with the music. Knowing the steps was just the beginning. This last year has been rife with challenges that come from things not being what they once were. We've been constantly bombarded with changes in the way we do practically everything. What do you do when you're exposed to new ideas and new opportunities? The way we're worshiping today isn't the same as it was 18 months ago. And whether we want to admit it or not, we are not the same as we were 18 months ago. And the world will never be what it was. Everywhere we look, we dare to go, people seem to be scrambling to find footing in this new world that is emerging all around us. And the ones who find new ways of existing, daring to dance to a different tune, are the ones that will experience growth and success. The ones trying to dance to the old tune will just fade away. Are you stuck dancing to the old same tune? Or as the music of life changes, are you willing to adapt and expand? There are undoubtedly people we encounter every day that are searching for answers, just like the eunuch was. He had visited Jerusalem and was reading the Hebrew scriptures, but he didn't understand them. Philip explained the passage to him, and he began to understand. He wondered why he couldn't be baptized, and Philip couldn't think of a reason, and why not, and listen to the Spirit of Christ. And so this became a conversion experience for both men. This reinforces the major theme in the book of Acts, how the message of the gospel was constantly moving outward from Jerusalem throughout the surrounding regions of Judea and Samaria and all the ways to the ends of the earth. Changing, but remaining the same: love. We're still invited to that great task to be witnesses to the teachings of Jesus in a world that is full of questions, but may be afraid to ask them. Is the only thing people know about Christians what they see and hear other Christians doing and saying? What do they see and what do they hear? I'm afraid that, although I hate to say it, that the loudest voices and actions of professed Christians seem to demonstrate division and hate. The world needs more guidance. Christian author Madeline L'Engle explains it this way, quote, "We draw people to Christ not by loudly discrediting what they believe, by telling them how wrong they are and how right we are, but by showing them a light that is so lovely that they want it with all their hearts. They want to know the source of it," end quote. It's obvious to me that many Christians need to dance to a different tune if people are going to see the true light of Christ. The eunuch must have seen part of that light in Judaism, and Philip opened it up to him even more. What is it that keeps you from daring to dance again, even if the dance isn't one that you're familiar with? How we treat each other is a place to start. And I mean, not just how we treat our friends, but that is a good start, but how we treat those people who seem like it's their life ambition and purpose to make us angry. Be honest, you have some of those people in your life, right? You and I are appointed to be guides for Christ to show through our words and actions what love really looks like. We may think we aren't qualified, that we're not enough, that we've fallen too far short to be a valid guide. But the words of the song that Rachel sang just a few minutes ago says, not so. The words, "I keep fighting voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. And am I more than just the sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am, because I need to know. You say I am loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I am strong when I think I am weak. And you say I am held when I'm falling short. And when I don't belong, oh, you say I am yours. And I believe." Do you believe? Are you enough to be a guide for Christ? There are so many people who, like the Ethiopian eunuch, are searching for something more than what they have experienced. I invite you to do two things this week. One, I invite you to look back in your life for those who were Philip for you. People who've come up alongside your chariot and offered to open your understandings of life's challenges and opportunities. Celebrate those people, whether they be parents or Sunday school teachers or spouses or friends or even some random person you meet on the road from Jerusalem to Gaza. They've made a difference in your life. If they're still alive, let them know how you appreciate them in your life. They've led you to where you are today. In essence, they have baptized you with the dance of love. Second, I invite you to believe that you are enough to be the Christ for someone else. That may be something huge, like Philip baptizing that eunuch, even if that wasn't the dance of his upbringing. Or it may just be a kindly gesture of noticing the others around you with a smile or a word of encouragement. It may be a phone call to a long-forgotten friend, or just noticing and saying the person's name who's checking you out at the store. But it may be getting involved with protesting those other songs that are playing in the background and becoming louder and louder. Violence, sexism, racism, ageism. Or by writing or calling those who are in a position to make broader changes than you can. But do not ever believe that the little things you can do aren't making a difference. For example, your support of the ministries of this church extends your reach to touch people around the world. I said earlier that sometimes our daring could lead to disappointment. But I believe that we're invited to dare to dance again, even if that might mean disappointment or pain. Of course, I have a song lyric that offers this advice. There are always a lot of songs that are rattling around in my brain. This one is by Garth Brooks. And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. Trusting the guidance of the Spirit of Christ isn't leaving your life to chance, and I surely don't want to miss the dance. Do you? Keep asking yourself the question that the eunuch asked. What is to prevent me from? Then fill in the blank and dare to dance the transformational tune of Christ. Don't miss the dance. Amen.